How's it going, Star Seekers? I hope everyone's doing fine and dandy, and welcome back to the channel for another wholesome review, where today we're going to be taking a look at Stick Fight the Game, a frantic physics-based platform fighter where you and up to 3 other players can duke it out, looking to be the last stickman standing as you battle for the combat crown across a wide variety of arenas. Each arena comes with its own hazards and gameplay elements, and you're going to need fast reactions to snag those weapons before your opponents do, and even more skill to actually fire the damn things without blasting yourself into oblivion. If you enjoy games like Towerfall Ascension or Brawler, then you're probably going to love Stick Fight the Game. But before we get into this review and check out what's on offer, if you're one of the 83% of my viewership who enjoy watching my content but are not yet subscribed, then please consider doing so to support both me and help the channel grow. With that all said and done with, let's get into it. So if you were a wee teen back in the early noughties like I was, while perusing the interweb and visiting sites such as Newgrounds or Albino Black Sheep, you're likely to have come across one of many stickman fighting animations. Now the earliest of these that I can remember are the Xiao Xiao series of animations, and these were the absolute shit at the time, alongside the likes of other flash animations such as Irrational Exuberance and The End of the World. Back in September of 2017, developer Lad4 West released Stick Fight the Game on Steam, and it's now found its way onto the Nintendo Switch, no doubt to the joy of many. So Stickman Fight begins with you spawning into the main menu, and here you can move around freely, practicing your punches and kicks, and add additional players into the game. Once everyone's ready to rock, you can then select between either online or local multiplayer by flicking this switch, after which you can head on to the next area where you can either jump quickly into an existing game or host your own. Upon joining a lobby, you can then wait for more players if you choose to do so, or get your lights punched out by another player, at which point the game begins and you're dropped into your first level. Now the game's control scheme is extremely simple. You jump with either the B or L buttons, punch and kick with the Y button or R trigger, and you can perform a block by holding either the L trigger or A button down, though trust me, you'll rarely be using this one. Now battles in Stick Fight take place in one of 100 different levels, and they're set in different themed environments. Each environment comes with its own set of hazards for you to avoid, and these include things like spiked walls, lasers, fragile breakable platforms, and precariously stacked boxes which threaten to topple over at a moment's notice. One set of levels that I thought were particularly awesome were the spooky levels, as they contained several levels where a pumpkin fell from the sky, and the player who managed to grab it was then transformed into a flying boss-like enemy. The other remaining players then had to put aside the differences and work together to take down the boss player, and I thought this was a really cool gameplay mechanic. Overall, I thought there was some great variety to the game's levels, and I felt they offered plenty of strategic options for disposing of your opponents. Now getting onto the game's combat, as you can probably tell from the footage, Stick Fight's combat is absolutely batshit crazy, and while there's a lot of skill involved in taking out your opponents, there's just as much skill required to ensure you don't accidentally throw yourself off a ledge. The environmental physics and ragdoll effects only add to this chaos, and you'll often find yourself just mashing away at the punch button and just praying that you get the killing blow. In each fight, players have to battle to be the last one standing, and after winning a bout, the game immediately shifts onto the next arena and the chaos ensues once more, so there's little to no downtime even if you die within the first few seconds of a fight. Now in addition to your fist, there are also tons of different weapons in the game, and while some arenas do spawn with weapons already in place, there's always a race on to grab weapons which are dropped into the arena at random. Now any weapon in Stick Fight can give you a big advantage against your opponents, but only providing you've got the skills to use them. These range from melee weapons such as batons and spears and lightweight pistols or Uzis, to grenade launchers and rocket launchers or shotguns which will send you flying backwards if you decide to fire them whilst airborne. Once again, the use of weapons can descend into chaos, especially when multiple players are armed and dangerous, but you can take the time to aim using the right thumbstick before pulling the trigger, which drastically increases your accuracy, providing you've even got the time to aim. Now I found the combat in Stick Fight had elements of both skill and luck to it, as was the case with the game's platforming mechanics. The ragdoll does make things a little tricky sometimes, and one punch can send you flying out of the arena, but overall it was a lot of fun, and my first session lasted about 20 minutes as the game cycled through every arena before returning to the first one. While there are 100 arenas in the game, you'll quickly work your way through them, but each fight in them has a different outcome and they fly by so fast that you'll barely notice them repeating. It's also worth noting that the Steam version of the game comes with a level editor, and it would be great if they implemented this feature into the Switch version, as there's already 23,000 player made levels in the Steam version. Now visually you're likely wondering how impressive a stickman can actually be, and you'd be right, not very, but the environmental visuals are actually very good, and things like destructible platforms, particle effects and explosions really do add to the game's visual aesthetics. I also never experienced any frame rate issues whilst playing, which alongside the game's tight controls meant that battles felt fair and that your losses in them were not down to something outside of your control. On the audio side of things, we get some nice sound effects for the punches, kicks and weapons, and the ongoing electro background music really suits the game as it transitions to a different style alongside the arena's environments. Overall I was pretty impressed with Stick Fight the game. It's a great platform brawler, especially for the price, and I will without a shadow of a doubt be playing this one on the next gaming night that I host. When it comes to a rating, I'm going to be giving Stick Fight the game 4 out of 5 stars. There really wasn't much I could fault about the game. Its combat is extremely fun and full of carnage, weapon and arena variety is plentiful, and the only thing that I'm really hoping for is that level creator, which will really add to the game's value. You can get Stick Fight the game from the UK Switch eShop for £5.39, or from the US eShop for $7.50. Alternatively, the game's also available on Steam. And that just about wraps up this review of Stick Fight the game on the Nintendo Switch. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this review and it helped you out. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game and the review in the comment section below. And go ahead and subscribe to the channel as I upload new Nintendo Switch reviews and content every few days. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.